This video is sponsored by Shiza Pharmaceuticals.
We've got indemnity from prosecution, so if you try and sue us, you'll probably find.
Yeah.
Did you see that interview with Tucker Carlson Dane Wigington?
No, I didn't see that one. Interview with Tucker Carlson.
That has gone literally across America. You know, that has been shown across America. That interview, where Dane Wigington, who has always been this specialist on chemtrails and geoengineering in the States, he actually did an interview and basically has exposed the US military of being responsible for most of the operations, carrying out cloud seeding and geoengineering across the entire world.
Experiments to dim the sun could be approved in weeks, which is all part of the government's attempts to slow down global warming.
They say the government has set aside £50 million of your taxpayers' money for geoengineering experiments. They want to reflect sunlight away from the Earth's surface. But should we be playing God?
There's a variety of different ways in which you could try to affect the planet's temperature. One is to try and make clouds brighter and more reflective, so they reflect more light into space, or try to spray water to create clouds.
A lot of new people who want to know what this is and why it's happening. Can you give us an introduction?
Yeah, again, the term geoengineering, aka chemtrails, that are the layman's term for what we see happening in the skies, but this is weather modification on a global scale. In fact, these programs are so large and so all-encompassing that all other weather modification programs that go on a smaller regional basis are virtually, they're negated by the scope and scale of the global geoengineering programs. And these programs involve a number of aspects. You have the saturation of the atmosphere with various chemical and metal particulates. And there appear to be various purposes and objectives with this saturation. In conjunction with the saturation, which ionizes the atmosphere, it makes the atmosphere more conductive, we have the HAARP facilities, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. These are ionosphere heaters. Many have heard of the HAARP facilities. There's not just one or two or three. We believe there's at least 18 around the globe, possibly with 3 more being built in Antarctica right now. And once the atmosphere is saturated with these particulates, and then you add the ionosphere heaters, the entire weather system globally is virtually being thwarted. There is no natural weather at this point, and we really don't know what sort of climate conditions we would have necessarily if these programs were brought to a halt, and they desperately need to be brought to a halt, because the saturation of the atmosphere is thwarting the hydrological cycle. It's totally disrupting the rain cycle. Again, we have the artificially nucleated snowstorms, which I just mentioned. You can't go from 100 degrees to snow in one day without a whole lot of help. This includes jet stream manipulation with the HAARP facilities, and we are not guessing at this. We have monitoring sources for this signal, and we can see where the signal is most intense, and that's what steers the jet stream. So then you add artificial ice nucleation, which is a chemical nucleation process. They can turn what should have been rain into snow and drop the temperatures of these storm systems by this artificial chemical nucleation. This isn't sci-fi, this is hard science fact. The weather disseminating agencies are trying desperately their task, and they're all owned at the very top, it appears, by the Rothschilds and or other parts of the global elite complex. Rothschilds in particular are ownership of Weather Channel, Weather Central, Weather Underground. And it was imperative that they own these agencies, otherwise there would be great discrepancy in trying to explain away these events.
You could do things like, I mean, the really big stuff would be to try and put something out in space that would block some of the sun's rays.
These utopian ideas, these power-hungry, obviously Bill Gates is massively behind this in America, these so-called philanthropists that want to save the world, they have to remember that nature generally gets it right.
We need to stop playing God with the atmosphere. It's, you know, the experiment on sulfate, one of the side effects of pouring huge amounts of sulfate into the atmosphere is it could destroy the ozone layer.
Absolutely.
We've just started healing it. Now to start destroying it again to stop climate change for the oil billionaires' profits doesn't make sense.
They have 3 times the amount of aerial tankers which are needed for this to fit the chemtrail tanks in than any other military force in the world. Wow. They are the ones responsible, basically. So they're the ones we're seeing, these big planes coming over.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's got it out there. Because before they were saying it was mainly fitted to commercial and small aircraft, but now he's basically said no, it's the US military behind 90% of the operations.
Wow, it's pretty heavy duty planes involved in that, and tankers, like you said. Yeah. So that was Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's interview.
Interviewed him, yeah. It was very interesting indeed. But again, that was, you know, in the Daily Mail, and they had loads of people looking at that. So hopefully it's woken more people up. But
exposure bit by bit, isn't it? Exposure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It is, but it's like they're letting, you know, they're saying one thing, aren't they? 1 minute, and then they're letting it go, and not saying anything for the next 2 months, so it goes out of people's minds. Yeah. So they need to keep consistently going on about it before people will listen.
All together now.
Don't worry, we've got a jab for that.